that old VHS. We're diving deep in cheesy flicks. Yeah, we're on a vintage quest. Low reviews but high on laughs. Let's give these films a cheer. The cult classics, flops and nuts, there are topics this year. We're the Ejectables, rolling back the years, celebrating movies that no one else cheers. From backhand juice to epic fails, we say it's all good. We're the Ejectables, yeah, we're misunderstood.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ejectables, the show where movie enthusiasts Bill, Joe, and Ian join forces with a rotating weekly guest to celebrate movies that we feel have been unfairly panned by critics or sadly neglected and forgotten by audiences. On this week's episode, our guest is Greg. Greg?
Welcome. Hi. Hey, everyone.
Tell us about yourself.
Oh, I am a movie lover and a Los Angelian.
All right.
Those kind of go hand in hand.
And are you in the business?
I am. I'm a story producer, which is the reality term for writer, but they want to call us story producers so we don't unionize. Very slick of them.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
I also heard that you are the co-host of this fantastic YouTube podcast. What's that called?
That show is called Stump the Bill.
That's funny. That's his name, but
oh,
weird.
Bill, you have some of our merch. Great.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of the show?
Like a B+.
You even changed your name to Bill for that show. That's cool.
I did. I'm when I go into character, I go into character.
I dig that. Oh, so Greg, what do you do on that podcast show?
So I help create the questions. Sometimes I'm in the background, keeping score and making sure that Bill's answers are indeed correct, because sometimes his movie knowledge is even greater than mine, and I have to double check that, these movies that he's naming were ever actually made.
Yeah, he does tend to make up a lot of stuff. Yeah.
So.
Greg is the sex symbol of the show.
Yeah, I speak to a younger demographic, a hotter demographic.
Yes.
It's the beard.
It's the beard.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the headset.
For some reason, the headset really accentuates the beard. I think
it brings out the ears. Yeah.
Are you landing a plane later?
The Burbank Airport. I'm on call for. Okay. So if I have to jump off, it's because I'm helping with a landing over there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
so totally I really like the plot of the 13th Floor. Breaker, breaker, breaker.
That's good. Sadly, I just have to say our co-host Joe is once again, he's missing. So we've sent out search parties. We're hoping they will find him in time for our next episode. But for now, we're going to do the best.
If you want to guess where Joe is, put it in the comments and we will search all of those locations. And whoever wins, if we find we'll get Bill's hat that says Stump the Bill. So
that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything else that you would like us to know about you before we jump into the movies?
No, I really want to get into this movie because it is much forgotten, and it should.
What movie?
My movie this week is The 13th Floor. Oh. It came out in 1999.
Same year I came out.
Yes, yeah.
Times 2.
Oh, that's true. I meant from my mother. Yeah, you understood. Okay.
He's trying to say he's young, but he's
Does old. Your wife know?
I mean, no, don't tell her. Greg and I both met our wives at Emerson College. I thought that was important too.
Oh, yeah, that's fun fact. So any single men out there, go to Emerson College. That's,
meet your wives.
Meet your wives.
Okay. And so as I said, my mom met her first 2 husbands there. But go on.
The 13th Floor. It came out like a month and a half after The Matrix came out. So it was kind of in the shadow of The Matrix.
What is The Matrix? Never.
It was a modest budget action sci-fi thriller,
Okay.
whereas the 13th Floor is a mystery noir, philosophical kind of sci-fi movie.
Okay.
And the plot basically is this computer company. They've made this virtual reality of 1930s Los Angeles, and they're going to release it to the public, but they've been experimenting with it, and the kind of head of the company goes in to the virtual reality stuff, finds this big mystery, comes out and gets murdered.
Oh.
And his kind of colleague and mentee is kind of implicated in this murder, and he's left like some big clue to his mentee on a not voicemail. What's the old school voicemail?
Answering machine.
Answering machine, on an answering machine.
Okay.
So he has to go. He goes into the 1930s LA noir virtual reality and is trying to clear his name and figure out what this big mystery is. And I love this movie because it had me guessing the whole way through, and it has these philosophical parts of it that, you know, kind of make you think. And at the end, the ending, I'm not going to spoil it. It's so good. It got me. I was like, oh, wow. I did not see this coming. And that's, you know, it didn't get a lot of attention because it was just in the shadow of The Matrix. And everyone's like, oh, this isn't as good as The Matrix. And it's a different movie. It's a different kind of movie. They weren't trying to be The Matrix. So the 13th Floor. Yeah.
And not to spoil anything, but I would say like a year and a half ago, this movie would have taken place in the future, but now it takes place in the past. Not to reveal anything. Maybe
Right.
Is that yeah. But do you know who directed this?
Yeah, I do. Joseph Rusnak is I think he's of German descent. I don't know.
Okay.
He hasn't done.
Roland Emmerich's company produced it. I think they might have even funded it.
Whose company?
Roland Emmerich.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. I saw his name there. Now, I have to ask Craig Bierko. He's the lead guy in this. There's Vincent D'Onofrio as his co-star.
Mhm.
Why is Craig? This is what I'm asking myself the whole time. Why is Craig Bierko the star of this movie? I don't think he's bad. I think he's fine. But how did he get a leading role in a big movie?
He was a pretty big star. He was almost cast as Friends. You know, this is a moderate budget movie. And great if you can cast so on. He had tons and tons of credits and stuff like that. I mean, but in 1999, I'm sure he was up and coming. I mean, he was getting offers for TV shows all the time. And, you know, Gretchen Mol, I don't think she did Rounders yet, you know. And
she was in everything back then.
Was she? Yeah.
Yeah.
They were, yeah. I was looking into her because I was like, who is this? She was in a bunch of stuff back then, and they were expecting her to be the next it person, Angelina Jolie type, and she never really made it to that level.
Business is cutthroat.
Vincent D'Onofrio, I think, is really good in this.
Yeah, he's having fun for sure.
He, one of the themes they based this virtual reality, like they created characters based on real people in the real world. Mm-hmm. So Vincent D'Onofrio in the real world has a character in the 1930s Los Angeles, and so he plays both characters, and they're very different characters. Mm-hmm. In the real world, Vincent D'Onofrio is kind of a shy, techie, quiet, nerdy guy, and his 1930s guy is this boisterous bartender who's slick and cool. And that was kind of interesting seeing him play these two different characters back to back in scenes.
Now, you said that The Matrix came out like a month and a half, and I'm thinking like that was so special effects heavy. when they're kind of moving from one reality to the next. And this, what they do to change that reality is they show a whole bunch of green lasers.
Yeah.
Now, do we have any idea what the budget on those green lasers was? Because that was...
I think this is a mid-budget movie. This was, this is more of a murder thriller than a sci-fi thing like that.
Yeah.
But I think like those graphics worked. The lasers, the green lasers worked. I thought they were like...
It aged well.
It aged well. It's cool. It was cool.
It's a great looking movie. I think it's well acted. As you said, it's an engaging mystery. So I think this is a great choice for the Ejectables. I'm trying to think, is there anything, Bill, do you have any other?
It's very hard to find. And if you go to a video store, there's a 1971 13th Floor. Do not rent that one. That's a horror movie.
Oh, or rent that one. That sounds fun.
Yeah. It's totally forgotten, this movie. I think they had big expectations, because I don't know if they did Godzilla yet, but this is like, I think that Roland Emmerich wanted to be a producer, have his own company. I don't think he's ever done anything else besides this movie.
Joseph Rusnak directed, or was a co-director on the Godzilla movie that came out in the 90s there.
Or maybe like
yeah. So I don't know.
I think it has a cheesiness to it, but I think it is entertaining enough, and it gets a bit twisty near the end. It's like, oh, who's the bad guy? Who's right and wrong in here, and what is the reality? Which I think gets a little bit convoluted, but I think it is ultimately fun enough and engaging enough. And I think it's worth a look.
I like the wigs also.
Oh yeah. Oh, the one sad part though, they wasted a whole bag of groceries. That was really tragic to see.
I know, thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, bought those groceries and put them in the trash right outside the store. Like, that's really sad.
Yeah, it's a turn of the century consumerism commentary, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. That was deep. So anything else about this movie you want to mention? Is there any particular thing like cinematography or just more story-wise that you dug about this film?
So the story was the best part for me. The cinematography was the noir aspect. I love noir, LA noir films, like mysteries where the dames and figuring that out, and to have like a sci-fi version of it. It kind of reminds me a bit of in Star Trek when they go to the holodeck and they have those noir kind of episodes in Next Generation Star Trek. The other thing it kind of reminded me of more recently is the HBO series Westworld, where they have these robots and they're alive and people kind of can travel to this world, do what they want with them, whatever, and have like no consequences on themselves. But these, there's like a little bit of morality of these robots have feelings, and what's our responsibility when we're creating this artificial intelligence, artificial life. That aspect of Westworld is kind of represented on the 13th Floor a bit.
And the period detail is so cool. It's really great looking.
And it's all like it's not like CGI. It's like art direction. It's beautiful.
Which was refreshing to kind of go back to that and see that. And I think all the special effects, even when we hit those borders of the reality and they kind of drive off into the distance and we see it's pretty flawless in that regard. And also Alison Lohman, did you see she has like a one-liner in this movie?
I love her though. She's great.
Yeah, she went to be in Drag Me to Hell and Matchstick Men. So
and White Only Under.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So good choice, Greg.
Good choice.
Thank you.
Ian, what did you pick?
Oh, what did I pick? I chose the Jet Li actioner Kiss of the Dragon, directed by Chris Nohan, who I don't really know from anything else, but this is a story. Jet Li came up with a story, and Luc Besson, the great French director of The Professional and La Femme Nikita, he co-wrote the script with some other person.
Robert Heyman, who did all the Takens.
And this movie very much feels like a Taken, that kind of structure of the storyline. It just looks amazing. His cinematographer that he took from La Femme Nikita and the professional, or Leon, they call it. He is great.
That was Leon.
What's that?
I thought it was Leon.
It's Leon. It's a French title. Yeah, because in
Leon for all
France,
these years.
in France, it was called Leon.
Okay.
My wife would kill me if I didn't say that. I gotta be careful here. Yeah, so his cinematographer Thierry Obergast did a great job. The action is so well choreographed. It's beautifully shot. I think what I like about the story is Jet Li is framed by French intelligence for the murder of this Chinese drug lord. And so Jet Li joins forces with a reluctant prostitute played by Bridget Fonda to clear his name and to get her child back from the bad guys. And it's the plot's a bit ridiculous, but the action's so great and way over the top, super violent, nicely gory. I think it's a lot of fun. If you want an action movie that's just a total blast and, don't think too much, I think you'll enjoy it. Jet Li is super likable. And this movie has a heart, which I think is another thing that really makes me enjoy it. But what'd you guys think?
Well, I rented this video from Be Kind Video Rentals in Burbank, and the story was a weak point for me.
Me too.
The action, there was a scene where there's a big snooker table and he kicks a snooker ball out of the table and then kicks it in the air and hits a guy in the forehead. Perfect. That was a great scene. The problem I had with it was just like these dirty cops are like just spraying Uzis into public, and it's like, oh, we're trying, it's like, how are they supposed to keep their criminal conspiracy a secret while murdering hundreds of civilians? And it's like, how deep does this corruption go, where it's like hundreds of cops I laughed out loud. There's a scene where Jet Li is breaking into the police station to fight, the bad guys. And he like opens this door and there's this martial arts center where
that's so great.
30 cops wearing, white gis and black belts are just there training, as they do in most police stations in France and Paris. I know
it's a big
and then he fights the whole room of like cops training, who I guess are all dirty cops too, or maybe they're just, I don't know.
That's what I love about the movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, obviously that was to be funny, and it's just a great action scene where he takes on the whole room of karate cops.
Yeah.
It's so fun and over the top and silly at times, but I think it brings it down to some decent acting by Bridget Fonda and some good drama, while again being kind of silly.
Well, some of the characters, there's two bad guys and they're credited as the twins, and
they're great.
White hair, and it's kind of like a military buzz cut that looks like the Street Fighter guy, I think,
like Billy Idol and Street Fighter.
Yeah, and they're twins, but one is like a foot taller than the other.
And it's huge rock.
And just huge and jacked. And I was like, for a while, I was like, because they have the same haircut, I'm like, are these two? There's two of them, right? Or is this just like a stunt double? Oh, no. These are two different characters. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I thought that was very Luc Besson to have these very defined, like different characters. I think very much like the professional or Leon, with I don't know. I recommend it. Bill, what do you think?
I loved it. I totally forgot it existed. So the co-writer Robert Mark Kamen, he wrote Taps, and he did all the Karate Kids.
I love Taps.
And then in the mid '90s, he teamed up with Luc Besson, the guy that did Leon, and I don't know if he did Leon, the professional. Maybe he did, but he did The Fifth Element with Luke.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And so he started that, and then they did this movie, and then they did Taken, which they thought was going to go direct to video. They were shocked that it even got released.
It should have gone to video.
The first one's great. You're crazy. The other two are bad. But what I loved about this movie was cinematography. They shot on real film to get that look. It's so beautiful. I love the bad French guy. He was the bad guy in Ejectables.
Yeah.
which will be Ejectable. That movie's fantastic.
Wait, which movie? I'm sorry, I spoke.
Addicted to Love.
Oh,
Addicted to Love.
With Meg Ryan and Matthew Broderick.
Oh, yes. Okay.
He was fantastic in it. I totally forgot it existed. You totally stumped me.
All right. I stumped the bill.
Yeah, I did. I forgot this.
I get credit for that.
I was like, when did this movie come out, man? You got me.
All right.
It was a pleasant watch. Can't recommend it enough.
One other aspect that I really liked that I hadn't seen in any other martial arts movie was he has these needles like for acupuncture.
Yes.
And he like attacks people with these needles and like paralyzes them and stuff. And I can't shoot my gun because there's a little needle in my forearm somewhere.
Or the kiss of the dragon in the spinal cord.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's so ridiculous in that regard, and just so much fun. If you just want a kind of brainless action movie that's not perfect, I recommend it. Now, Bill, if we're ready to move on, I think we should talk about Sudden Death.
Yeah, this was my pick. In short, Die Hard in a hockey rink. It's unabashedly shameless. It's just Die Hard in a hockey rink. They did a lot of these movies, but the fact they don't even care makes the charm. Makes it very charming. It's Peter Hyams, who's not only is the director, the DP. He's one of the best directors and DPs ever. He did Time Cop, and then this was his second movie that he did with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Then afterwards, he had a brief career thing with End of Days, that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that James Cameron recommended him for. Peter Hyams did, like 2010, Running Scared with Billy Crystal. He was the DP in all his movies, and he's such a great visualist. And this movie was just so much fun. I think it's probably the best Jean-Claude Van Damme movie ever made. It takes place in Pittsburgh. He is a fire chief that has PTSD, and unfortunately, his it's Die Hard with kids. So instead of Bonnie Bedelia, it's two whiny kids that he brings to a hockey game. It gets taken over by terrorists looking for money. They take the vice president hostage, and Jean-Claude Van Damme has to save the day. Absolutely fun, so well shot. I miss movies like this. Better than Time Cop, and probably the best Jean-Claude Van Damme movie ever made. There you go.
I thought it was better than The Whale, personally.
The Whale?
Yeah. What's that?
It's not in The Whale.
No, I know. I'm just saying, of movies that I'm not a huge fan of, I thought it was better than The Whale. I have to say, my biggest takeaway from this movie is sudden death is a hockey term. I didn't know that. So that was kind of cool. First, Greg, what'd you think of it?
I loved it. I had never seen this movie before. I'd never heard of it before. And there's a scene where he fights Penguin mascot. There's a a terrorist goes inside the costume of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and there's this fight scene, and I was just laughing like, no way, this is great. I've never seen a fight. It was kind of like a Family Guy when he's fighting the chicken, that recurring Family Guy joke, but this happened first. So
why would the Pittsburgh Penguins agree to this also, right?
It said that they were in the Stanley Cup, so they're like, okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Now I got to tell you, Bill, my mother-in-law made it all the way through this movie. The whole movie, she's like,
because she's Belgian, she loves Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, I think it was. Well, that's how I was like, hey, Jean-Claude Van Damme's in this, and the muscles. Well, she's like, where is he from? She thought maybe he was like French or something. I'm like, no, he's Belgian. He's the muscles from Brussels. But she was the whole movie. She's like, oh God, this is so dumb. This is so dumb.
She loved it.
Now, my take, I mean, obviously the sudden death, I was happy to learn that was a hockey thing. I didn't know that, which is cool. And I don't mean to be mean to you, because I know this is a movie that hit you at the right time. I was slightly older, so much more mature. I'm kidding.
Hence the stormtrooper behind you.
Yeah, that's my kid. I just put it there for him.
You're right.
He had no room in his room. It's too for me on the nose a Die Hard ripoff, note for note. It is.
I know, but that's the joy of it. Like Speed does a good job, which it's actually a perfect script. Speed does a good job of being its own, but this is just shameless.
Shameless. It's a little.
But I love that charming. I love that charming aspect of it.
It's far. But the thing is, for me, it was obviously far inferior. And it's when you're going to be note for note Die Hard, at least try to be as good. And this didn't even. It was just like, we got Jean-Claude Van Damme, whatever. It's
dude,
Die Hard from Jean-Claude.
It's a different thing. It's not trying to be Die Hard. They're saying let's put Die Hard in a hockey rink, and we're going to have the best DP and one of the best directors, and we're going to do. It's like having Little Caesars pizza and eating it at like Joe's Pizza in New York.
They even had a guy that was like the quarterback is toast type character in this movie. We had the tech guy and McClane and Die Hard. Jean-Claude Van Damme's name in this is McCord. It's like, oh, let's McClane, McClane. We did that. We'll do McCord. I don't know. And then that helicopter. I feel like I'm being a jerk. I don't mean to.
All right, talk about the helicopter.
Holy, that's slow motion, 8-minute slow motion helicopter crash with the bad guy. I'm reaching for it. How dare you? And it's like ridiculous.
You have no heart. You're a cynic, Ian.
That bad guy though, I loved him.
It's Powers Booth.
He was great. He was amazing. And the lines that they wrote him were really good. He had some really good bad guy dialogue that wasn't over. He was funny. He was smart. It was
he's good. I felt he was kind of one note though. Did you feel that at all?
I mean, well, how much depth do you need for a guy that takes over a hockey ring?
No, but Die Hard, I can't help
what? That he's German and that he's into money. What else is Alan Rickman?
Oh, that's true. You're right. Well, he's dead. Maybe. Oh no, they're both dead. That's so sad. Maybe these action movies killed him.
No, I mean, like, what else? That dialogue that Powers Brute does was awesome. It was quick. I have a feeling that like Gary DeVore did the rewrite of the dialogue. He wrote Running Scared. I remember reading that, but I could be wrong, so don't crucify me in the comments. But yeah.
What's up with that MacGyver scene though? When he's like, you see him like for 5 minutes, he's putting together this tube and he's like sawing this thing. Meanwhile, all the bad guys are after him. They don't know where he is for that minute. He's like putting all these things together.
That's how they're trying to make it different than Die Hard. See, in Die Hard, he's just a cop and kind of a brute. But I think the thinking was that this guy knew like techniques and could stop the bombs because he was a former fire inspector.
Yeah. It was just funny. He has all that time to put together that thing, and then the bad guy comes. And
you can do that about any movie. Oh, terrorists took over the Nakatomi building. Oh, come on. How realistic is that? Oh,
it's totally
that's crazy. Realistic. Oh, yeah, totally. Like they wouldn't be filled. I worked till 5 o'clock on Christmas Eve. Why is the building so empty? Oh, that's so crazy.
You're right.
I've been in Los Angeles. There's tons of traffic on Christmas Eve. How would they even get there? I mean, you can say that
That's
about
a good
anything.
point. You're making me hate Die Hard now.
No, it's just like Ghostbusters. Right. Oh,
I'll tell you what this movie had that Die Hard did not have.
What?
And this was a sports movie. You know how Die Hard's a Christmas movie? This is a sports movie.
Yes.
It is about an amateur hockey goalie from Canada who gets married to an American, gives up his hockey career, becomes a fire chief, right? But always wants to play hockey secretly. Then, because terrorists take over the Stanley Cup, and he has to hide from the terrorists. So he puts on a goalie uniform to hide from the terrorists, and then they send him into the game.
And his son is like, "Oh, that's my dad."
That's my dad. So
he gave
movie.
them a special nod. It's like a special hand gesture.
Yeah, that was cute. No, that was. I mean, if I'd never seen any other movie, and I didn't know what good acting was,
do you think Speed is a ripoff of Die Hard? Do you think Speed is a ripoff?
It is, but I thought that was just a better film.
Of course, because this is unabashedly Die Hard. Speed tries to be its own thing, but
I think that's the problem for me.
Speed is a perfect script. Like it's studying in film schools.
Yeah.
If you like Die Hard, if you like Speed, and if you haven't seen sudden death, you might like it.
There you go. And I feel like, are we missing another one, like a terrorist takeover or something else?
Sure. Although, I mean, there's Under Siege with what's
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there's a bunch of them. There's a ton of them. That's not a good movie.
Is that the one
Under
with
Siege
the
is
train and the Steven Seagal's the chef?
Yeah, that's
Oh, it's like on a ship, right?
Under Siege 2.
Oh, I didn't even know this.
Yeah, Under Siege 2 is great also.
No, there's a million of them. There is a ton of them. So I don't mean to unfairly pan this one because obviously Greg had not seen it and he just saw it and he dug it. And I definitely saw this at the theater. I just didn't remember it.
You're a cynic.
I'm a cynic. I'm sorry. My movie was a stupid choice. My, Kiss of the Dragon is pretty dumb, but it's fun. And this is fun too.
Yeah.
You're a cynic.
I love you, Bill.
All right, so this is the point where we pick a movie. You can't pick your own. What movie do you pick Greg Soroka to like the most?
I am going to go with Sudden Death.
What? Oh, I feel it.
The story was complete. I wasn't like, I don't buy the way it was shot. Kiss of the Dragon was shot. They had very well, but I thought the storyline with the prostitute and her daughter and trying to solve
It's so realistic.
I was like, okay, I don't know. I didn't love the acting. It was contained. It was contained. They weren't shooting up all of Paris with Uzis, all of trains. Yeah. It was contained to one building. I have bombs to disassemble or whatever. And I have goals to save in hockey. It was contained in one, kind of world there that worked
it's
well.
A little unfair though, because mine's getting, it's not getting good credit because of its bad plot, but this one stole its plot from another movie.
Well, maybe
that's a good idea.
So the Dragon should have done. Maybe they should have did a Die Hard in Paris with
Die
karate.
Hard in the Eiffel Tower. What?
Good idea.
Write it. Bill, what's your choice?
My choice is Kiss of the Dragon.
I love you. Oh, you know what? This is gonna be hard because I am going to choose the 13th Floor.
All right.
Three-way tie.
Three-way tie. So we all get the Employee of the Month, Akeem, for outstanding performance on effort.
We all get it. Well, Greg, thank you very much for being our guest this week. Does anyone have anything else to add before I close this out?
I want to say that if you need script coverage, check out gridscript.com. And
they rock.
Yep. And Greg, sorry.
I want to say that since we all tied, in the comments below, if you've seen these films, write which one best is. So so that'll be our tiebreaker.
Oh, that's a good idea. So do what Greg said. Make sure to like and follow us on YouTube. And please do comment like Greg said. And also maybe comment some movies that you think we should cover. And maybe someday you could be our guest if you would like to as well. So, like and share and tell your friends.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Pop the popcorn, grab a Coke, and find that old VHS. We're diving deep in cheesy flicks. Yeah, we're on a vintage quest. Low reviews but high on laughs. Let's give these films a cheer. The cult classics, flops, and nuts. There are topics this year. We're the Ejectables, rolling back the years, celebrating movies that no one else cheers. From backhand twos to epic fails, we say it's all good. We're the Ejectables, yeah, we're misunderstood.